So you might have seen my video before on the ISR manifold about a year ago on a review for this, how to set it up and everything. So a couple things have changed. Car's making 500 wheel horsepower now, so here's how it's held up. So first thing you'll notice is the hand bent lines are half-inch stainless that go into compression fittings, and the whole manifold has been recoated in new chrome. So I definitely like the look of it. Rail used to be gold on these, so I'm fairly positive that nobody has used hardlines for this yet. So we're gonna see how this works out. But all of the taps and threads in this entire manifold, all the way back to those fittings back there, are all NPT, so National Pipe Taper. So I re-threaded. These two are original 1/8 NPT, and those are 1/4. I wanted to have a bigger line and bigger fitting, so I couldn't possibly snap anything off. One's going to the brake booster, and the other is going to a vacuum block, which I have everything else connected to. The idle air control is all hooked up the same, so I have one port blocked off, and this is just the air coming in. So I think I'm going to run that to just the atmosphere with a screen instead for now. So if you're looking for a silicone coupler, it's a 34mm is stock. These are a 1/2 NPT along with these. So this is actually stock thread in the manifold, so when you're looking for fittings or anything, you can still use the same sizes. Another thing to note about these is that they may not be perfectly flat. There's not much of a wobble, but I'm not going to be using the same intake gasket I did before. I might have to use a Thermaltake one to take some of the slop out of it, because this might have leaked a few drops after I put it on if you don't completely have the bottom flattened out. They're pretty flat, but there is a very slight wiggle depending on how I move this. I know on some of the RBs the throttle bodies used to leak. This one's still perfectly fine, doing good, springs holding up and everything. So this chrome is just a powder coating on there, which is pretty nice. Not super durable, but you can see just faintly the ISR in here, and it used to be on the rail too, so I kind of wanted to have those removed, have a nice clean nice new look on it. So I'm running 1000cc Deskworks, which are just Bosch really. So they're 14mm, and pretty much whatever size you get, you might have to modify your standoff a little bit. So I ended up just kind of cutting a little material off of there and put a spacer on with a with the bolt going through. I did end up using the orange OEM Nissan coolant sealant, so that's what you use for like the water pump and everything. Part of the reason I'm making this video is because all the fittings they give you are kind of cheap, which I mentioned in the last one. I didn't expect them to just disintegrate though. Like the actual material came out of this, and not by pressure, but I think by just enough flow and heat, it just chipped these out of here. So there was a ton of debris in my system from this, and the original lines, the rubber ones, actually started to sweat out coolant and crack on me. So I just had to rebuild just about everything. So that's why I put the stainless lines in there. Came out pretty nice. If you've never seen compression fittings, this is how they work. So the end of your tube would basically be going through all of this. So it comes in this way. You put the tube into here, and then this is the base, which is right down here. So you put these on the tube first in this order, so the end is coming through this way, and then you fit the whole thing into here, and then when this threads onto this with this inside in the center, this actually compresses that little piece of copper in there, and that makes the seal. So it's kind of difficult to work with, but I think it'll seal pretty good. Keep you all updated on how these stainless lines turn out, and maybe I'll be making a kit for them in the future. Already prefabbed, and everything probably turned out a little bit better than mine. I know my gaps are a little close here, so I could probably level it out a bit, But if you're interested in a kit like this, let me know. I think I'll start making them. For the intake pipe, best way to do this is, I thought it was a 4-inch, so it's not. It's actually a 3 3/4, so 3.75 to 3.5 is probably the best fit you're gonna get. My other one was, I believe, a 3.75 to a 3-inch, which has a it's a big difference on it, but I'm gonna like the carbon tube on this side because I have one on the other side of the engine as well, so should work out nice. So it's held up pretty well. I'm fairly certain that all of these manifolds are all made in China from probably the same place. All the welds look identical and everything. As prefab kits, they just keep putting their different logos on it. So here's the ISR manifold. I think Otaku and Zero Fab, or maybe some of the other ones, are all about the same thing, but I really have nothing to say about this. It's held up for a long time, looks great. Even the coating is pretty tough, even after scratching it. So yeah, it's working pretty good. I'll let you guys know if it blows up.